My name is Maria Cantacesso. I was born March 10, 1949 in Italy. I grew up, I was about 11. When I'm from Monopello, I moved to Milano. And I got married over there, and I had a baby. She was 6 months old. We came to this country.
To many people today, the words American immigration reflect ideas of hope, freedom, and new opportunities, welcoming those from all walks of life to the U.S. to achieve the American dream. But in reality, strict immigration policies in American history prevented thousands of immigrants from achieving their dreams for over 4 decades. From 1905 to 1914, roughly 10 million immigrants moved to the United States. Among these immigrants were waves of Italians, as well as a mixture of Southern, Eastern, and Central Europeans. These new immigrants appeared and spoke much differently than the Germans, British, and Irish who had already inhabited U.S. land. With the influx of new immigrants, discriminatory American beliefs triggered an era of restriction and limitation that would not be resolved until several decades later. In response to these beliefs, Congress passed the Immigration Act of 1924, marking the beginning of a long immigration drought that would last the next 40 years. Permanent discriminatory immigration quotas were established based on race and national origin, favoring some countries over others. The quotas were designed to keep the U.S. white and pure, preserving the cultural homogeneity of American society. Immigration visas were provided to only 2% of the total number of people of each nationality in the U.S. as of the 1890 census, capping immigration as a whole at only 150,000 per year. Millions of people were unequally defined by their nationality.
My grandmother, she was born here in North Conway, but then she went back, she was maybe 11, 10 years old. But then she came back here, 55, maybe 56. Yeah, but she came back here. So after my grandmother was here, she wanted all the kids to come over, but then it was not easy. She had a hard time. America, they don't want Italian. And then she waited until it was more easy to come.
The Act of 1924 largely affected those from Eastern and Southern Europe and completely excluded immigrants from Asia. Immigration numbers fell immediately and drastically in targeted areas. From 1905 to 1914, Italian immigration to America stood at about 216,000 each year. After the implementation of the Immigration Act of 1924, that number dropped to just over 6,000. Families were kept apart, and many prospective immigrants were trapped in their impoverished lives.
I went to school. Matter of fact, I went 5 years, fifth grade. But most of the time I couldn't go because I had to go with my mother to do this, to that, in the farm. I didn't really go all year round in school. Before we moved to Milano, it was tough, very tough. We didn't have water in the house. We didn't have to eat. We didn't have a light. No bathroom. We used to go to the bathroom outside. We have to go get water about 20 minutes away and put it in your head. Hold it until you get home. I make homemade pasta, 11 years old. I made sauce. When everybody come home from the farm, that's what we're going to eat. It was nothing like today, believe me. You know, I don't know. Sometimes it's unbelievable.
As time progressed, many people began to recognize the intolerable harm that the Immigration Act of 1924 had on immigrants and began to advocate for change. After decades of restriction and discrimination, action was finally taken and the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 was passed, rejuvenating the flow of people coming to America. Key figures such as John F. Kennedy and his brothers advocated for immigration reform and played a crucial role in the subsequent passing of the law.
It is a proud privilege to be a citizen of the great republic, to hear its song sung, to realize that we are the descendants of 40 million people who left other countries, other familiar scenes, to come here to the United States to build a new life, to make a new opportunity for themselves and their children. I think it is not a burden, but a privilege to have the chance in 1963 to share that great concept which they felt so deeply among all of our people.
With its passing, the quota system was abolished, ending the favoritism toward Northern Europeans and all discrimination involving the race or origin of prospective immigrants. A key statement from the law states, no person shall receive any preference or priority to be discriminated against in the issuance of an immigrant visa because of his race, sex, nationality, place of birth, or place of residence. Instead, the Act prioritized family reunification and skilled workers, opening bigger doors for immigrants and allowing a more equal opportunity for all to enter the country.
My grandma, she was born here, she was an American citizen. So when she came here, she came back alone. But then she filed a paper for immigration and everybody, my mother came, 66. My aunt, about 65. And my other aunt, a year before me, so I came in 68. My husband came in 67. We all, little by little, we all came here. I had a daughter, 6 months old. We came with the boat from Genoa to New York. So we got out the boat. I found my mother, my brother, and my uncle to pick us up. We came here to Boston.
On October 3, 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the bill at the foot of the Statue of Liberty, a defining moment in the history of American immigration policy that changed the course of U.S. immigration. Immediately after the bill's passing, family reunification became a major force behind immigration to the U.S. Most notably, immigration from Asia and Latin America substantially increased. 4.3 million Mexican immigrants and 1.5 million Filipinos moved to the United States by the end of the 20th century. Those from India, South Korea, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic also contributed to the rise in immigration, transforming the United States into what it is today.
From this day forth, those wishing to immigrate to America shall be admitted on the basis of their skills and their close relationships to those already here. Those who can contribute most to this country, to its growth, to its strength, to its spirit, will be the first that are admitted to this land.
They were looking for somebody like my husband because he was a tailor and it was hard to find it. So they were waiting, matter of fact, we came because my mother says, we talked to somebody that worked at Lawrence and they looking for you. If you're a tailor, you got to come over here right now and you got a job the day after.
This frontier in immigration occurred during a period in American history where people were trying to act on a civil rights movement that was working to end racial nationality inequality. In addition to the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, a variety of other bills, including the Civil Rights Act and Voting Rights Act, were passed to work toward a more progressive future. The law propelled the U.S. into finding its identity as a nation that welcomes immigrants and promotes equality for all. Like Maria and her family, thousands of immigrants' lives were changed with the implementation of the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, and they were able to pursue a better life surrounded by family, freedom, and opportunity.
It was very nice when everybody's here. We got together. It was a big family. We came here for work, but they really work. Italians, they like to work, and they do a lot of things, Nobody can complain about Italian people. I'm really happy because now in Italy it's nothing like here. It's much better here.